This is Good Morning Mumbai with Hrishi K.
It's Uri time and the lovely Yami Gautam is here. And Vicky Kaushal is on a roll. What's up, brother?
What's up, Hrishi?
You know, I've been following you guys on social media on your way here. I know that if I say the word akroat, Yami will have me for breakfast. So I'm not going to say it.
Story.
I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say
He
it.
actually
Thank
likes to talk about that.
Very funny. Yeah, right.
Really?
You've had enough akroat for a lifetime, right? I mean, all the radio guys. You've had enough conversation on akroats for a lifetime.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you for clarifying. Enough conversations on a ground for a lifetime. Thank you.
Listen, such little is known about your director, brother. So,
Yes.
is this Aditya Dhar the lyricist who became a writer and director, or is he a director first? Give the lowdown, please.
So Aditya Dhar, this young, gorgeous guy from Delhi. He's been in Mumbai trying his luck to be a director, to be a storyteller since a very long time. Yes, he was a lyricist. He was a writer. He's shot the making videos for some films. So he's made some short films of one who's gone to the national awards,
Yeah.
something. So wo bhi hua hua hai, and a very, very talented chap. The most fascinating story is about how this film happened. His first film, Uri, happened. He was going to make a film with Fawad in it. Just 20 days before going on floors, the Uri attacks happen. And the whole fasla happens where, no Pakistani artist can work over here and all of that. And the film gets shelved. Disheartened, he goes back to Delhi and he starts thinking, yaar, ye kya hua that my film got shelved? What is this Uri? What attacks were these? What just happened? And he started researching about the subject and he developed a script out of it. And the reason why he couldn't make his first film is his first film today, called Uri the Surgical Strike.
Wow.
Which is so fascinating. But yes, I just spoke to him right before just sitting here, and I'm going to meet him after the interview. And yeah, just a very, very a beautiful human being, Aditya Dhar.
So, Yami, him being from Kashmir, did it help in the overall telling of the story, or you're saying that anybody who's sensitive enough and who's cued into the film would have been able to tackle it as well? Or do you think him being Kashmiri added that vital edge to it?
I think it must have to him, or anybody who's a writer, who's a filmmaker, especially when you're writing, I think a subject is something as crucial as very sensitive, and you have a personal story also to tell and to connect with it. It'll only help. Of course, you need to be also have the right balance where you don't get swayed or too emotionalized about something. So you keep your facts in check, you keep your research in check, which is what he did. And when I also read the script for the first time, even I was really happy to see something which I'd read I think a very good script. I think after, I can definitely say in a long time, because it was crisp, it was sharp, it was all facts, and yet it was all driven by a very pure emotion, which stemmed out from patriotism. So, and he said something very, very beautiful. He said, I want to make a film which not just, people love, but I want to make the army proud of it. So that is something which really, I was like, I want to work with such people. I want to work on such films which are with people who inspire you, to work hard, to work harder, and to actually give your best, and to be in the industry for actually literally the craft of it, which sometimes just gets receded in background and we are distracted by so many other things. So good to see such a refreshing change in the industry which is happening now with the fresh perspectives of new writers, new age directors coming up. So
lovely.
That's one.
In one aspect, I'm a little lucky. Most radio stations have a bunch of RJs and a bunch of different guys would have been interviewing you. But with you and me, every single film of yours, I've been this side of the mic, So
Always.
whether it's Zuban or, Razi and...
Everything.
yeah, man. And I'm thinking, on more than one occasion, you've always said, Dad wants me to do action. And it's finally happened, man.
Finally happened.
So, what is Shyamji's reaction when he sees the Uri teaser and then he sees the Uri trailer? Tell me about that.
Firstly, when he saw the trailer, he really loved the trailer, and also he really liked the the action choreography, and he liked the authenticity of it. He could make out that the blasts were real. He could make out that everything was happening live. So while we were doing it also, I mean, my dialogue in the film is, how is the Josh? All he would ask on the other side of the telephone was, beta, how is the Hosh? You know, because it's dangerous, it's risky. Please make sure you're safe, your co-actors are safe, and it's all happening in a safe environment, which was all taken care of while we were filming. But he's very happy that finally an action film has come out. And also, to be very honest, when I had read the script, I had also given the script to my dad to read, just for a second opinion, what he feels about the script, because I was like mujhe karni hai, I really wanted to do it, but I just wanted a neutral point of view also. I'm just not getting too excited because I'm emotionally really, you know, about the military and about the Uri attacks that had happened. So is it as a story, how is it working? And he also had told me, you know, when he read the script, he's like, beta, if you miss this, you're gonna miss something big. So yeah.
You know, I'm a great admirer of yours, Yami, because you can do the dainty, a feather touch, fair and lovely model routine, and, you know, play so vulnerable like you did in Kabil. And then these last two films of yours, I mean, whatever little I've seen of Uri and Batti Gul Meter Chalu, you're this hard as nails, you know, badass woman. You're wearing the pants, literally. And it's remarkable, the change. You seem to be really enjoying it, even more than playing dainty and pretty. Talk about that.
Yeah, I'm absolutely enjoying it. I'm definitely enjoying it, and
Sorry, a lame joke that came out. No, not
Brother,
that.
you have to.
Not that.
All jokes have to be delivered. All
Yeah,
jokes have to be
There's a new commercial that's going to come, a new brand that's going to
I
come in the
don't
market.
know
It's going to be
also.
called Fair and Badass. It's going to be Yami on the frontlining it.
No lovely here, baby. It's all badass.
It's not lovely, baby. Take it or leave it.
And you know, directors are also thinking that. They're thinking, you know, this
Yeah.
porcelain beauty. I mean, why make her pay porcelain and suddenly you just flip it on its head, and she does that so well.
I
So
was actually just gonna say that I would rather give the credits to the filmmaker, especially when you haven't seen an actor much in that space. So sometimes it becomes difficult to visualize that. Oh, can she do something like this, or will it look forced on her, or does she want to do such roles? So I'm glad in a way that these roles also came my way. And but I really want to do films. I really want to do roles which push my envelope as an actor and make me in a space where it's you feel it's an irreplaceable character, where you don't get another actor. I'm saying in the most neutral space that I can say, that that's so much justice I do to it, and it's one is so different from the other that you don't really feel that, oh, we could have another actor imagine do this.
So what are you pulling exactly when you say the Akrot dialogue? I mean, he's wired to
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Wow. And you just pull it, and what happens is his throat comes out or something. I don't know.
You gotta watch the film.
Yeah, fine. If it's taking things away, that's fine. So, you know, we had a team building exercise. We were taken to a camp called Data, which is ahead of Dela. So a couple of army officers made us do some routines. Man, I didn't last two of them. And the minor ones were the rope climbing and walking over fire and things like that. So what's an NDA obstacle course like? Did you do the NDA obstacle course, or was it even more intense than that?
It started off with a boot camp training, where a person who was trained by the Black Cats, he was training us. It was for 2 months that it went on, every day from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. in the evening. It started off with basic endurance building, basic stamina building, getting your form right, getting your walk right, crawling, jumping, all of those activities right. Also gelling as a team. Those 20 actors, including me, we met for the first time. And when you sweat together, when you bleed together, when you're in pain together, that's when you bond together. And that was an exercise for that purpose also. But at the same time, also for the fact that even if when you're not wearing a uniform in the film, you should still, in your persona, you should look like an army guy. There's a certain way they walk, there's a certain way they shake their hands, there's a certain way their demeanor is something which reflects that they've gone through a lot of physical training. So we wanted to achieve that, and also a lot of tactical things that went into play. And then we were trained by the military guys, the Sikh regiment that was posted in Cuff Parade. They trained us. They took us to their obstacle training grounds, and they trained us over there. So some things were very basic as to an obstacle training drill was there, where you have to time your drilling session. You start from point A, you end at point B, and you have to time it. And everybody used to be like, you have to beat each other's time. You have to beat each other's time. So all of that was going on. Apart from that, there was slithering that we had done. Slithering is the program where you jump off the choppers from a height of 30 feet or 40 feet or 50 feet with the help of ropes. So what you see in the film is all actors doing it, no stuntmen, no military guys who are doing it. So slithering was taught to us, and then there were these mock drills where we were given, okay, this is a hut or a cottage or a room where there are apparently there are some terrorists. You don't know the count of the terrorists, you don't know which rooms they are settled in, but you land 100 meters away from that. You've slithered down 100 meters away. There's a team of 8 paracommandos, and you are those paracommandos, and then you have to crawl, whatever you want to do. There are trees and whatever. You have to hide and go to that place. You have to attack that place, and there will be mock grenades, there'll be guns given to you and everything, and you have to plan all of that without talking, only by isharas and all those tactical things that you've been trained with. So, and then they used to monitor all of us, how we are doing, who used to do it in a good way and who faltered, and then used to tell us, okay, you can do this, you can do that, to make it faster, to make it more stealthier, and all of that. And that we have incorporated in the film. The code languages, how they used to give the codes, all of them with just one hand. With just one hand they can give a count till 10. So that was fun. And every other isharas, how they talk on walkie-talkies, how, like, if the commander who's in charge of that regiment, of that battalion, if he takes a position, that means that you have to take a certain formation. So what is that meaning? Learn all of that. So all of that went into play. It was not just about walking on fire. It was those tactical things that you had to incorporate in the film, which had to look super authentic, because it was a very mission-based film, a mission that has actually happened. And also, if you want to show it in a very authentic way, it's not just the punches that has to look authentic. The infiltration has to look authentic. The planning has to look authentic. Your body language has to look authentic. So all of that we got to know, the arms and ammunitions, how to use them, how to walk with them, how to crawl with them, how to jump with them, all of that. And you feel that, as a layman, ki haan, theek hai, banduk pakad ke chalna hi to hai, but it's not as simple. It's very tactical, So all of that information was really stimulating as an actor. Okay, ye hai, okay, wo hai. So all of that went into play.
I guarantee you'll never be able to see another episode of Fauda or 24 in the same vein, because you know what goes into it now. How amazing is that? There are a couple of countries which have compulsory army training. One is Israel, the other is Singapore. I'm not saying in India we should have Greece as well. I'm not saying in India we should have compulsory army training, but when Vicky was speaking, I was thinking maybe all civilians should be given some training, so that when a Kasab comes into a Victoria terminus, a VT station, and starts firing at will, at least we'll know what to do. Yeah. Vicky, after this training, knows that if somebody throws a grenade in a public place, where to jump, where to duck. Shouldn't we as civilians be exposed to a little bit of that? Your thoughts on that?
Of course, but I feel as civilians, we need to be exposed to a lot of things. A lot of things which, when it comes to learning how to defend, first I think starts from home only. First it's a very deep-rooted conversation, I feel. But yes, what you said is something, if you can take a cue from it, at least to make something like this compulsory in every school as much as possible, at least for kids to learn, at least for kids to start. I think that'll really help at a very elementary level. That's really essential. So I think what I see these days, what's happening with the schools, we're becoming more Western in terms of the grading system, and the syllabus coming down, and all the textbook work coming down, which we've gone through, I think, heaps and bundles of it. But I think if we really want to make it very practical, as you said, there's some very basic things that we should and must include. So it becomes a part of the conditioning. It becomes a part of the system.
Wow, that's an incredibly smart thing to say. So she's saying, as opposed to just an IB board or whatever it is, O levels, to incorporate things like that. Sorry, you were saying, Vicky?
I was saying, not just for the purpose of self-defense. It's for the purpose of etiquette, manners, discipline. You meet an army guy, oh my god, the etiquettes, you feel inspired. It can never happen that a woman enters a room and that army guy wouldn't stand up and offer the chair. It just can't happen. And just basic manners, it's just conditioned into them. They just become like these well-mannered, well-etiquette guys who who's so raw but at the same time so tender when it comes to all of this. And if that gets infused into you during your childhood, I think it's going to be a much better and much disciplined society.
Even the way they pour their drink, even the way in cantonments. This film is very important because as you're going around, you'll see more and more media people suddenly going back to times they spent in cantonments and their experiences with cantonments. And I was thinking, even the trees are painted in a particular way and they're nicely taken care of. There's lots of army stuff that we can learn so much from as civilians. Serbia, how did that happen in the middle of a film on Uri? Lucky you guys. Was it a song or was it what?
Song?
The entire film.
The whole film is Serbia.
The entire film is in Serbia.
Uri is recreated in Serbia.
Yeah.
Wow. That is so cool. So where was this?
Sounds very cool.
Yeah, it does.
Ask these guys.
Yeah, so say where in Serbia, and was it a forest or what was it?
It was we shot in the city as well, where we had all the intelligence set up and everything. But for, of course, all the war sequences and everything, all the surgical strike, I think they had to go and shoot. In
the good part was that the terrain, the forest terrain of Serbia matches exactly to Kashmir.
Wow.
Which is obviously
It
why.
matches, and we were shooting in the month of June and July, so it happened in September. The Uri attacks and the surgical strike happened in September. That's the only month where it's not snowing in Kashmir. So that also was easy to recreate because it wasn't snowing in Serbia in June and July. Apart from that, our weapons, our choppers, all of that are imported. All of that are Russian make. Same goes for Serbia. Their weapons, their choppers, everything are Russian made. They're imported from Russia. So all we needed to do was change the stickers of the country. So everything was just fitting in so well, and it was so relatively so much more easier to shoot lavish action sequences over there. Over here, that would have been much more difficult to actually go to Kashmir and shoot those action sequences because it's such a fragile place. But over there we got that support and we got that space to shoot those action sequences.
Wow, so obviously your production designer and your director have done a lot and the cinematographer have done a lot of groundwork. I mean, this is remarkable. One can imagine going to Kashmir and shooting a Laila Majnu or shooting a highway, shooting a romantic film. At the moment you get into conflict area, it's very, very difficult. So, what a wonderful cast. Do you have scenes with Paresh Rawal?
Yes.
Do you have scenes with Kirti Kulhari? Do you?
I
No.
have scenes only with Paresh. I mean, not with Kirti. With Mohit very, very briefly. With Kirti also actually very, very briefly, but majorly because I'm in intelligence services and he's representing the head of that department. So obviously I had maximum scenes with Paresh, and what an incredible time I had. I think it's the mark of a true actor where no matter how senior you are, we all know how legendary he is, but he'll never come with any kind of a, again, very, very important, like any baggage that he's so many XYZ years films old and he knows it all. He does. But you'll never know. He'll be so easy to work with, so easy to communicate, so easy to do a scene, perform a scene together, and everything that you expect in your co-actor. Which doesn't only mean actors who you are, technically paired opposite or, of the same age. He's one of the most amazing co-actors I've ever worked with. And when you watch him perform, it's so seamless. It's so organic. He's so natural. You won't even know how he would just do the scene. He would do everything when we watch on the screen and we're like, oh, okay, yeah. But the process of he makes it look really easy. But I'm sure he does a lot of hard work. He does a lot of homework before coming on set, because even if he says that I haven't, but I'm sure he does, because it's like you make it so much a part of you that it's almost like your a very natural reflex, actually. You know what I'm trying to say? So it was and again, as a person, really funny. His sense of humor is something, it'll just crack you up. It could also in the middle of a scene if there are montages. And he's absolutely, we had a lot of fun.
And Vicky, I was so happy to read on your timeline a wonderful memorial message to Kader Khan Saab. He is no more. When you see people like Kader Khan Saab, God bless his soul, and people like Paresh Rawal, seniors, they had very little to go by when they started their careers. We have all the research in the world now. We've seen all the narcoses and this and that. We're exposed to a lot from the West. They had very little to go by. And yet, having that little to go by, they're just so effortless. Stuff that you've learned from your seniors, stuff that you've learned from actors who are just so instinctive and effortless. Let's talk about that.
The one primary thing that I've learned from them, those senior veteran actors, is that they still have the energy of a debutant. And it's amazing. It's amazing. They still are so uncontaminated. Those many years of experience and everything, it reflects in their work, but not in their behavior. It doesn't reflect in... They don't take it for granted. They are still sometimes more fragile than you as an actor. Sometimes when they come up to you and say, "Arey yaar, ye rehearse kar lete hain pehle." And I'm like, man, you have an experience of acting equal to my age. And still you are so, you are so tender about it. You're so upbeat about it that, nothing should go wrong. Am I getting it right? You're still so full of questions and you want to answer all of them. You still want to find out more layers. And that's what amazes me. That after so long also, with every film they treat it as a new film, as their first film. And that energy just inspires you. They're still full of that curiosity of a new kid who's just started to learn how to walk. They're still full of wonderment. That okay, this can be done and this can be done. Let's play and this, which once you get into that comfort space where you don't have to prove anything, that might just take a backseat. That curiosity of a guy of a kid who's just born, who's opening his eyes for the first time and looking at the world for the first time. That's how they see each character. Like, I got to work with Paresh ji on Sanju and then consecutively on Uri, and that's what I could gauge. That on Sanju he had that energy, and again on Uri he had the same energy. Okay, this, because I realized that character he's approaching and playing for the first time. He's never played that character ever before, no matter how much experience he's had as an actor. And that energy just shows. He's not taking anything for granted. And he's just trying to find more layers. And that I feel I really admire and I really get inspired by looking at that aspect of these veteran actors.
Wonderful. I want to talk about the India-Pakistan aspect simply because you're in a film that has something to do with cross-border terrorism. Also, both of you are very lucky. I mean, both being Punjabis. I'll give you a classic example. Because we fundamentally come from the South, when I ask my grandfather or my great-grandfather, all who are no more, if they have stories of partition, they have none. Because in the South, the partition was too far away, and it was just physically the distance was so much that they have no memories at all. Whereas I'm sure the two of you have enough people in the family who have been through the pain, the trauma, whatever, and you have enough to feed off. The fact that we were one country, and subsequently what has happened is certain elements have taken advantage of our being divisive, and the whole terrorism problem has been created. So your feelings about India and Pakistan, and the fact that you're part of this film, and historically speaking, how the Punjab was split into two.
Well, just to be a bit more specific, I hail from Himachal.
You do?
Yeah, I do. I've grown up in Chandigarh. I've done my schooling from Chandigarh.
So are you Punjabi settled in
Pahari.
Himachal, or you're a Pahari?
I'm a Pahari.
And everybody mistakes her for being Panju.
I'm a Pahari. So all my relatives, of course, they happen to be from Himachal. So I wouldn't personally have anybody in our family to share the story where you'll have so and so property is now there in Lahore, or is in the West Punjab now, or your maybe your great grandfather was from there. So unfortunately or fortunately, I don't know. I don't have such stories, but of course historically, as I was always really extremely fond of history as a student, and have read so much about it. I remember this is one film that we were taken to watch, Shahid Udham Singh. Right? Yeah. So
Punjabi film.
Punjabi film. Especially, this is how our school used to actually, have a celebrate an Independence Day or a Republic Day, to take us and watch such. Coincidentally, it had released at that time, and then Bhagat Singh also, Shahid Udham Singh also, and so I think watching such films, even if they're not really talked about, but they're there in my memories, because I remember the feeling that we used to get at that time when we used to come out of theatre, that so much they've sacrificed, and probably we not even would have heard of them at that age if it was not for the films. So, I mean, this is not to just plug in Uri somewhere, but it's a very surreal feeling where something that you felt in your childhood, come walking out of a theater, and something that you've learnt about your country or your freedom fighters. That was a different era. That was a different fight altogether. But now. Working on a film which again talks about something which is extremely crucial, which is extremely relevant, again something which the current generation should connect with, or we should make them connect with, apart from all the social media thing that they're clouded with, is the importance and the recognition and the respect given to Indian Army. So I think that's, apart from just being a surgical strike, a GK question, or a question to be debated upon and to be just restricted to our books or internet. I think it's also the importance and to inspire this generation to look up to Indian Army and to join if possible. So I'm glad that not every film, of course, you get to be a part of can have a social message, or this is not even a social message, this is much more above than that. But if it happens, then I think it's an amazing feeling. It's really.
So what hurts? He's a major, right? Is he a major or is he a captain?
He's a major. He's a Special Force Paracommando major.
What hurts Major Saab the most? That they came at night and killed my brethren while you're not supposed to do what you did, which is khul ke waar karo, or that this is constantly happening. Terrorists are crossing the border and doing what they're doing, which is mass scale destruction. What really hit him and what caused the surgical strike of Uri?
Both. In the film, it's pent up also, because I'll tell you something what had happened before Uri, which we show in the film also, and I would ideally want the people to watch it in the film. But there was a series of attacks that had happened right before Uri. There was the Pathankot attack that had happened, and there was the Chandel also that had happened. So all of that is happening in a quick successions in those 1 year before Uri. This time in Uri, it was just the last straw, because it was done in a very cowardly way, where it was early morning, our army jawans are sleeping, there was a regiment that was shifting base, and their throats were slit, their tents were burned while they were sleeping. And and there are more details which are there in the film. It's shocking, which I really feel like talking right now, but that would take away from the experience of watching the film. But it's shocking how that happened, and it really hit them in the gut. That this won't be taken, just by, we won't just be an audience to that, and we have to reply back to terrorism. It's just not acceptable. And yes, and all the planning and execution, so that was the pain in Major Vihan Shergill, and not just with him, the entire defense. I keep hearing stories about how I meet people and I get messages that my brother is in the Air Force, and they used to be like, we are ready to get suspended. We felt like taking our fighter jets and going to the other side and just attacking the terrorists or whatever knowledge that we have. They were so emotionally affected by it, and I think everybody in the country was. So that pain is there in the film, and I think it's not or, it's and, both the scenarios that you spoke of.
Well, on a lighter note, buddy, you become a talk show favorite. Only Karan Johar can break the hearts of millions of girls across this planet with you getting onto the show and saying you're not single anymore. So, but at least
that question was just shot at me point blank.
You could
there was a surgical strike on
but
me.
Vicky came back very, very strongly. He took a pause.
I will definitely watch it.
So now that all the girls know that you're not single anymore, the good news is at least he says he doesn't want to get married immediately. He's saying thodi der baad.
Thodi der baad apne aap
What did he say?
He just asked me, so we've heard that you're not single, and and I just couldn't believe that he's asked me, like, this is the first question on the show, and I just took a pause, blushed a bit, and said yes. That's it. That's all I could say.
That's classic Vicky.
Yeah, but that's classic Vicky. I mean, if he had gone on and on, it would have been a problem. So he nipped it in the bud.
That's very classic.
Because Ayushman was on the couch with him, and what can you ask Ayushman? Everything just open book.
Married chap.
I love what you're wearing, bro. So big shout out to your designer. Or is it just you curating your
Amandeep.
clothes?
No, I am very handicapped when
Nice
it comes to fashion and technology. This is Amandeep Kaur I love you, Amandeep. Thank you very much.
Sweet. And I love your denim jackets. Yeah, I wish you'd
Thank
worn
you.
one today.
Yeah?
So that I get a picture with you. But they're always so beautiful, so elegant.
Thank you.
So who styled you today? Yeah.
Oh, that's Mohit Roy.
Lovely. Last couple of questions before we wrap. So, what is it that you plan to burn the calories with and sweat it out this year? Your Sweat It Out 2019 fitness message for our listeners. I know you've done Uri, so it's a difficult question to ask you, considering the training you've done. But what is your regular workout or fitness routine once this whole thing settles down, promotions are over, and you get back to being Vicky Kaushal?
Vicky Kaushal's fitness regime, if nothing specific is asked for a character, is basically to run a bit, work out a bit, eat healthy, good food, and be hydrated all the time. I always have this with me, a flask of water, and just be healthy and be healthy in your mind as well. Think positive thoughts, and that leads to a good body as well.
Lovely. Yami, your workout regime?
It's a mix of functional, it's a mix of cardio. I like dancing, and I think, as you said, I think you can make your bodies in your gym, and you can swim, you can pick up any sport activity, but a healthy mind is extremely important. I know I can look really good even if I haven't worked out in 10 days, but I'm very happy from inside.
Look at that! I'm telling you, she's fair and badass.
It's only happened after Uri, I think.
A travel experience in 2018 that was amazing. I mean, you went to this place, and you know, if you did some adventure sports, that's great. But any travel experience that you remember in 2018, and you said, "Wow, have you just been working, Vicky?"
Actually, it was just for my New Year's. I'd gone to Singapore with my family, and it wasn't on the adventurous note, but I had taken a dip in the sea, and that was so relaxing. It was just like, because 2018 was a very hectic year, but that 1 hour in the sea was just so beautiful. It was sun on the head, like sun on top of you, and just nice blue water, and you're just in it, and there's no rush, there was no clock around you, nothing. It was just...
I was working there, but just extended by a few days.
London is one city I really want to go. I've never been there.
Yeah, it was beautiful. Especially it was just that, winter's never little there, but it was cold, and I absolutely enjoyed it. But New Year's was special because it was home. New Year's is always supposed to be home unless
in Chandigarh.
In Chandigarh, it was just Chandigarh.
So did you walk around Hyde Park and all in London, the parks?
Yeah. I love doing that. I think it's a great place where you can jog, you can just be there, sit on a bench, watch those leaves fall, and so do those really simple things.
Yeah, and you imagine going to Serbia and going into a place with your sister, and you doing a fun video, and the press goes nuts about it, man. You know about that video, no?
Crazy.
She did a video saying, you didn't get in because of pants, and people just went crazy about it.
Really
Poor Serbians,
it
yeah.
was so
That's how I know you all went to Serbia, because I follow her.
So, you remember the hotel we were all staying in, correct? Niche fine dining, there was a restaurant, okay? And obviously you have a dress code, but we didn't know there's a fine dining restaurant. So they just very politely, they said, we're extremely sorry, but my sister, she was wearing some dress. She was not wearing...
Which happens in India also.
Exactly. Okay. But ma'am, there's a restaurant just here, which is just like 20 steps away. So it's like, yeah, cool. So I just made it out of fun. That why didn't want people? It became a huge issue, so much so that a journalist from Serbia called us, got in touch with Surilio on Facebook and said, I feel there is some major miscommunication. I would like to apologize on behalf of the entire media fraternity, be it India or Serbia, because we can feel that there's something majorly gone wrong. So could you tell us what had happened?
Perhaps you can't love them, you can't leave them, brother.
So मतलब इंडिया मीडिया को पता भी नहीं उनकी behalf पे sorry भी बोल दिया गया.
Listen, I love you guys. I can't wait to see Uri. Thank you, Yami, and thank you, Vicky.
Thank you
so
so
much.
Thank you so much.